This is number 2, and I'm going to name this Debt Collector. I didn't get all of it put up, and then I'm going to finish for today. And if anybody's watching this, it's kind of like a record for whatever, if I ever have an attorney or ever whatever. So this is number 2. I'm going to say Debt Collector, okay? I think on when I put them up. Anyway, where did I get to now? I'm telling about her name, believe it or not, she come up on the trail, and you'd have to see what was being done to me on the Appalachian Trail exactly 3.5 months ago, okay? This was on the first one, and I haven't put it up yet, and then this is the second one that goes with it. Her name was, I didn't know her name. She came up, and I'm not going to tell what was being done to me. It's too much. But it was a prelude to me. I had money stolen, and I couldn't pay my rent. So I went out there, and they had actually the nice people on Mountain Pass Road, the Crawfords across the street. Um, they all have homes. Most of these people up there have bought $300,000 homes, or 200 at least. Live beautifully, and they don't need me on the Appalachian Trail messing up anything for them. Anyway, I don't go back there, and haven't for a long time, unless it was just like this happened. I had my rent money stolen by someone I trusted, and was a cab driver. And I'm not going to say he was, let me say he was an independent cab driver, okay? Anyway, he shows up, and I hadn't seen him in years and years, and now then, the money was stolen from me. It was about 200 and something bucks. It would have paid my rent. I didn't have quite enough to pay it, and I had to go out there. And I had, I'm not going to say what was done to me, but she showed up out there the first time I'd ever seen her. She didn't tell me she lived down the street from Mountain Pass, the old trail I used to go up and when I was there. And the one that JFK Jr. came up with his cousin and taunted me and told me they came to see how they made me live. That's true. And then, anyway, okay, that was a prelude when I met her. They'd stole the money, and I'd gone out there, couldn't pay the rent. And that was a prelude to me going to Scott Hill. And she, come to find out, she had been sent over from North Carolina a couple of years ago. Before then, this is 3 years ago, at least a year prior. She had a beautiful, I didn't know it at the time, her last name, or I really didn't, or that she lived in that beautiful home a couple of blocks down there from the old trail where I was. Anyway, I'm going to get into this because after I went to Scott Hill and came back, and I went out there twice trying to make it work just like I did this time. It was never meant to work. This is how they run me. And I've quoted a state trooper who I like. Some of the state troopers have tried to help, some not. Anyway, he said, his wife said to me in 2009, she said, "This is how we run you with chemicals. I'm allergic to them. I have an autoimmune disorder, and it is so, when I'm forced where I'm living like this, to inhale them, it's pretty toxic and horrible to me." So I want to get this up and not tire you out. I appreciate the ones that listen, and perhaps share this so that at least someday maybe this gets attention, okay? The media is forced to tell the truth about me and what's been done to my family and my mom and dad and country. It means this country. My mom was born in this country, Madison, Wisconsin. So anyway, when after the first trip out, and even went back, and by the way, I want to finish this. The first time out there, they signed me a 1 month. What HUD doesn't do that. Give a 1 month notice. You just had to stay there a month, and then you could give a 1 month notice. And when I when I took all those pictures of the mold and mildew and people's cats were dying, they don't appreciate it though. They really don't. They got new air conditionings after I left the first time in most of the building. Anyway, before I lose my train of thought, I try to laugh to get through it. Um, Came back and went back out there. What they said, though, they tried to say, because they had slipped in and removed into my apartment and took it, and where I had signed the lease for 1 month and give notice. And there was an investigator sent there by the state of Virginia. I didn't know it at first, but then he got worked over. And he left, and he wasn't going to have anything to do with investigating anything. He was leaving. I talked to him, and he investigated judges and everything. But the person that, I've forgotten her name, that was manager, she needs to be locked up herself. She was gone this time. But she said, he works for you. I said, I don't know anything about him working for me. But anyway, he asked me, did I know when they took things out of my apartment? Well, they had taken that lease that said what I've just stated. And they told me, no, HUD doesn't do that. It's a 12-month lease. I said, look, I know what I signed. Well, anyway, after I left, and I left, I guess, in good standing, I'd paid them and all this, and even gone back trying to make it work. Well, they sent the 1-month lease where I'd signed it to me, the copy that they had taken. Now then, this is 3 years later. Well, I want to go and tell this, though. They've redone the scenario in the Scott Peterson. They've connected it, and it gets too much to try to tell it. I understand it and know I'm living it. I went back even twice this time. Now then, they may try to sue me. Isn't this an odd situation? I'm telling you this, and if you think it's mind-boggling, it is. They get people to do anything. They don't have to go after me, but I'm the one that can't get an attorney. I'm the one you can beat up on and do all these things to me, and I'm helpless. Okay? So now then, I went out there the second time, this June 15th, just like I did 3 years ago. And it was just as bad. And the last night there, I hope I can remember, because they could come in and make me with no money. They could. If I can't get it into court. And can you see what an attorney would do to me, or could do to me if I didn't have a good one and it went into court? So these are the people that live around here who would tell you they helped me. It's all okay. So now I'm back here, where I'd lived since before, well, in July of last year. So now I'm going to go back to the woman that came up the trail, and this is it just before I went out to Scott Hill in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 2016, I guess. No, it's 15. Anyway, 3 years ago. Can't even add right at the moment. And this is going to go out. Anyway, let me just skip to back then. She came on Easter Sunday. This is after then, so this must have been 2016. Well, she came the day before Easter, obviously, with a lily. And she came in so sweet, and I'd been out to her home and all this. She had stole a pink phone from me, though. Her son was at Liberty University, the religious, over there, and Jerry Falwell's church and all that, university. Anyway, her son was in computer. He was getting his degree. So they got my phone, my little pink phone, and they were, I don't know what all they did. I don't know what happened to that. Oh, they got it. Then she came in, this is later, a little later now, in Easter. She comes and brings a lily, and lo and behold, I had my phone, I don't know if it's charging, it was on the bed. Like this, I lived in a motel then. And she took it, and before I could get it back, she had deleted and messed the friggin' thing up. So I lost a bunch of stuff off of it, couldn't get it back. I don't know how she did it, but she did. Come bearing gifts, didn't she? Now I'm going to tell you this part. I found out that she couldn't sell they couldn't sell their first home over in Carolinas. And this is true, you have to know the money that was put into this, almost like props or something, I don't know, it's so orchestrated. But they had paid for her to come over. Her house was still unsold and over for all this, a year and a half or something, I think, or more. They had moved. When I say they, she was moved and her family over here, her husband. She had two children of her own, the boy that went to Liberty University in Lynchburg. She had a daughter who was married in Carolina. And they'd moved her and her husband over here and given them this beautiful home that I've just mentioned to you, a couple blocks down, all wooded and everything, till he chopped it down. Anyway, they had this home that's absolutely gorgeous. You can't believe it. And then to find out that it had been paid for because it was connected to me. And here's what happened. She hadn't told me her last name when I first met her, just prior. It was 2015. Was it 2015? Yeah. Just prior to going the first time out to Scott Hill. And remember, Scott is connected to Scott Peterson, and okay, if you've kept up with this. Now then, she didn't tell me her last name. Okay, now then, I go out there and visit her before she took my phone. This is in between then. And she's been nice enough. But then I found out her name was Queen, which was quite shocking. You've got the Queen walking up, living on the Appalachian Trail. That'd be me. Can't use my own name. And here they moved this woman in with a home that's, oh my God. And they even got him a job. And I'm not going to get into what happened later. Oh, this is not, if they ever tell it, God knows. Okay, she's pretending to be good to me. She's going to church every Sunday. I even went with her. Oh, wow. Okay, now then, her two adopted children were biological sisters, and I hope I get this up. Oh, their names, get this, her name was Angela Queen. Okay, Mountain Pass Road, I don't know if they're still there or not, and travel. Right at the Appalachian Trail, 2 blocks down, huge home. Okay, Samatha, which is Sammy. Well, Samantha's been used, obviously, in the murders. Missing children, or in some of the murders that are in patterns. Before this, that's the reason I put it down. Now then, it just dawned on me that Samantha is used in the Meghan Markel marrying Harry, and her half-sister's name. If you've watched any of my videos, I've said there was a reason the Samantha was put there, and you would love to hear it if it's ever played out in tow. Okay, that's part of the Sammy that's come about. Married with children, Peggy Bundy. You got a lot of it, and Megan grew up on the stage there. She's an actress. She grew up going to where her father worked in the TV series Married with Children. But anyway, the Samantha is her sister. Well, Samantha is, I'll get back to it. Samantha Castle Queen is one of the biological sisters she adopted. Angela Queen adopted. And I didn't find this out till I went to her home. Her last name and her adopted children, 2 of them that were biological sisters. Okay, the other one's name was what? Amber Rose Castle Queen. Now, Amber is in the Amber Alert, and Amber, as in Scott Peterson, was defamed and supposed to be in love with Amber, whatever her name was, and that was used against him in the trial. and supposedly he killed Lacey and Connor. And I'll say this, when I went the last time out to Scott Hill, the room they gave me, the apartment, small, but I liked it if they hadn't sabotaged it. His name was Connor. Suddenly, 2 to 3 weeks before I came there, he was scooted out and nobody could really explain it. So it gets into that type thing, and this may be running out. I've tried to tell you it's hard to keep up and make it sound, you'd have to put it up on a graph, or, well, I don't know, some of it you wouldn't. Some of it you could just look at some papers and you'd know exactly what I'm saying. They were done in patterns to that degree that you can't deny it. But getting it into court, allowing me to get home and have a place, because as it stands, I can't pay the rent here. So much has happened to me after this week. So anyway, I thought in putting my stuff up to have a record of what they're doing to me money-wise, they're making me beg to not gas me, beg to see certain doctors. I need to pay them. I mean, you need to pay me. Can you imagine any part of this? And I haven't told what the job her husband got, Mrs. Queen's husband got, and what he did in that job to me. And he connects to here where I'm living, the people that own this.